So this is the third video that I have of Penny's retraining. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened to the footage of her like getting on, and I don't know how many sessions there was between the last one you saw and this one. I thought I recorded everything, but I either lost it or I just didn't record it. I really don't know because this video at this point is 5 years old, 6 years old, so I don't know what happened. So from the last time you saw, obviously she's getting all the way into the trailer and she's up in the divider and where I would haul her. So from the last time she was like halfway in, thinking about 3 feet. So this is a big jump. So I wouldn't necessarily jump from that to that, and I didn't. I just don't know where the footage is. So I would instead get her confident with coming up, definitely putting 2 feet in and backing out confidently. Then if she'll do 3 feet, where she'll kind of pick up that third foot and then just kind of set it on the trailer and then back out, and then ideally with both hind feet, but doesn't have to be, and get to that point. And then I would get to the point where she's getting in with all 4 feet and then just kind of staying at the entrance and then backing out calmly. Do that and then getting slowly, a step further into the trailer and then backing out calmly, and then another step until she's at this location here. That's how I would train it. Unfortunately, I don't have the footage of it. I've looked in all my hard drives. I don't know where it is, but that's the process of it. If you want to see that process with my other horses, with Dakota, with I think I have it with Rhett, with the Mustangs, I do have that footage, and it's either on my YouTube now, or it will be eventually, or it'll be on my Patreon as well. So that's kind of the process that I would take. But right now, she's at the point where she's all the way on, obviously, and now she's in the place where I'd like her to be. So what I'm having her do is just target the front of the divider here, which you'll see in a second because I've cut up the video to where you could see from this angle, and it's the same footage from the other angle here in a second. And she's just touching the front of the divider. You can also use a target too. Some horses prefer that, but yeah, she's hopping right into the trailer. That looks great. And then she's going into position here. We're pretty close to where I'd like her to be. She's not quite in that position where I'm going to shut the divider, but she's pretty close. And this is kind of that middle place where she's going to be in between those two parts of training. So where she's getting in, and then I'm going to get her more and more like sideways to where she's going to fit in that divider. So I want her to touch that side of the trailer there, and then I'm going to click and reinforce. So she's just targeting the wall. If you want to use like a pool noodle or like a boat buoy bumper thing, whatever you want to use that the horse can't hurt themselves on, that they can touch and hold on to, that would work too. But for her, for whatever reason, I just had her touch the wall. That works too. It just kind of depends on the horse and what you want to touch, what you want to reinforce. So that's kind of up to you, and you want to be consistent with it as well. So she's just touching the wall here, and I'm reinforcing her for it, and that's pretty much all I'm doing at this point. I don't love that she's rocking back to get fed. I need to be feeding her further forward. So like she's touching it and then bringing it forward. So that was better. I don't want that rocking motion to be part of it, where she's touching here and then see she's rocking her hindquarters backward. I don't love that. I don't really want that. So if I can get her face like further up, and then I can maybe like preload my hand with treats and then feed her up there so she's not rocking back to get the food. Um, but yeah, that's not something that I necessarily want. And then over time, I do want her hips over to the right and up to the side of the trailer. And there I'm kind of asking her for another step there. She kind of goes up and then she kind of goes backward. So for her at this point, I had her kind of step up as like this is kind of like a cue that she knows, like from the ground, just to go forward. Like she knows how to lunge and lead forward, and that's kind of a normal cue for her. You can do different cues as well. But that's what I'm doing here. And this is, you can see it from a different angle here. So she's kind of rocking back. So you can tell she's not super confident with being in there. Like she's doing it, but that rocking motion I don't love. You kind of got to watch that, and then I don't train that into the behavior as well. You don't really want that. And then lots of petting, because eventually I'm going to shut that divider, see how she wants to rock back there. That's better. So she's kind of, I'm trying to feed her up in front, but she's still kind of rocking back a little bit. So she might need to go back a couple steps to where, like literally step back a couple steps so that she can be more relaxed in that placement versus having her head here. This just might be too claustrophobic for her, and that's why she's rocking back. And it also could be me not feeding her an appropriate position. and kind of feeding behind so she goes back to feed the or to eat the food, or it could be a combination of both. So that's just something you want to look at when you're training your horse and doing this specific behavior too. So that's kind of where we're at now. But yeah, back to touching on her. I want to make sure she can stand there and she can stay and I can kind of touch on her side and on her hindquarters and then start leaving the trailer because I want her there and I'm going to leave and I'm going to be able to shut the divider and then shut that back door and she's going to have to stay up here. So I'm just going to do lots of continuous reinforcement here for her standing in this correct position. That might be another way of doing it a little bit better than this so that she doesn't have to touch like the wall. Maybe I can just click her and feed her for like being right here, and then she'll build up some confidence to where she can kind of take that step forward and have her head up there. But yeah, so she's got a little bit of worry in there. There's still some worry in there, and it doesn't look like there is, but there is. So you can see just kind of how she's rocking her weight and she's kind of moving her head, that those quick motions. She's not completely relaxed, so I would just kind of just look for those little things. So I'm going to kind of cut this video up since I have a lot of kind of the same things because I have it from 2 different angles and kind of point out the biggest things that I want to talk about. So same kind of thing, she's just kind of hanging out up here in the front divider, and then I'm going to ask her to back up, and I'm just kind of touch her chest, and then she backs out quite nicely. She does that well. Like previously she'd want to really back out fast and she would get scared, but she doesn't really, I don't remember her wanting to turn around a lot, so that is nice because that can be a frustrating thing to do. But you want to reinforce your horse for backing out slowly, pausing, like there I reinforced her for pausing when she was halfway out. We don't necessarily think about that, but that's really important so we don't have a horse that's rushing to get off. So I've given her a break and taken her for a quick walk, and then you can kind of see her come in from this angle, and she's definitely wanting to come in, and I'm trying to kind of put her at the correct angle so that she's not coming in too close to where I'm standing, but you can see from that she does want to get into the trailer, so that is good. I think just up here she's just a little uncomfortable with how close she is to the divider, but we're going to work on that and get that nice and solid. But that was a nice like angle to see that she does want to get into the trailer. This looks a little bit better, like she's not really rocking as much, she's kind of turning her head a little bit, but this looks better. I like that she's just kind of staying there, and she'll kind of turn her head and look at me for the food, but she's not rocking her weight back and like kind of like touching it and then being like, oh, I'm gonna back up because I'm not comfortable here, and then oh, I'll touch it because I want food, and then backing up. So this looks like that she's not quite doing that as much, so she's really just standing here and I'm just continually reinforcing her. So that looks really good. I do like that. She has made progress, and she's a little bit over to the side more. She was a lot straighter when we first started, and you could kind of see right like straight onto her hindquarters, and now she kind of has her butt over to the side. So for me, I really like to just keep them on that side wall, and then they kind of can just follow that wall into position, and then it just kind of makes it easier for me. When you see the Mustangs video, it's a little bit different because they're completely wild, but that's how I usually do it, and then the wall kind of just helps them get right into that position for the divider. And she backs out really nicely. I like that she's taking one step with the hind leg and then the other one. This looks really great, and then again, you saw from that other angle, I'm reinforcing her while she's halfway out. She's thinking about going back in, and I'm like, nah, let's back out. That's also a great sign that she wants to go in. So this looks really nice. So I should have set her up a little bit better and not let her get as far ahead of me, because I want her to be over to the side and let that wall kind of help her out and guide her into position. So I shouldn't have let her get on where she was so far over, because I like that she wants to get on, but I still want her to wait for me and not just be in front of me, like running ahead. So that is one thing that I would change. Okay, so I'm just continually feeding her for having her head straight and staying in this body position. She looks even better at this point. And all I've been doing is just feeding her. She keeps her head straight, and then I'm feeding her with her head in front of her body. That's all I was doing to get that behavior. Got rid of the rocking, and we got rid of the head turning, so now I'm going to start just taking that one step back, which I did a couple times already. So right there, I'm taking a step back, she's staying forward, and I'm clicking. So I'm just building it up very gradually. One step, click, and come back. I'm going to start building up that distance between her and me so that she can stay up here and touch the wall, and I can be back here and start to be in position to shut the divider and shut the back door and leave from the trailer. So I can also touch her from back there, and that looks really nice. I'm just gonna give her
That is absolutely excellent.
some treats from just staying in the position that I want. That looks really great. So kind of just starting to create some distance between the two of us so that I can eventually shut that divider. And I've just tossed some food on the floor here, and then I'm just asking her to back up. And I love how slow and rhythmical she is. And then she kind of gets halfway. She's nice and slow. She gets halfway, and then she can come back on. That looks great. So lots of control there, because sometimes horses will get stuck and then she'll just kind of step over for me there. That looks really nice. You can do that too. You can have teach a tactile cue where she steps over to responsive your touch. That's a great way to do this as well, because sometimes they don't line up perfectly with just following the wall there. So but some horses get stuck and getting off the trailer the same way every time, or just backing off. Like when they're backing off and they don't stop or they don't slow down. So it's good to just kind of back them up a little bit, bring them forward, back them up halfway, bring them forward, so they're not always just getting on and getting off. They're kind of in between, and they'll do each step of the process relaxed. They'll slow down, they'll wait for you, and they'll listen to your cues, because all of that's really important. So that looked really good. Give her another break here. And then again, you can see from this angle how far I am leaving, like creating that distance from here. So just taking that one step, like half step back, and then clicking and reinforcing. So that's going to be the beginning of it. And then we'll take like one full step, and then a step and a half, 2 steps, and then continue going backward until I can go all the way back. And then I'll probably just have her stay in the trailer while I leave completely, and then I'll start messing with the divider, because I want to have that duration, that time where she can stay up there by herself while I leave, and then I'll add in the divider, because if she can't stand up there by herself, she's not going to be able to stand for me moving the divider and adding something else to the training process.